All right, we are back with another Academy question. Our HSM Academy members have asked such great questions, and I figured instead of just answering them all for them, I would also share with you guys because I know you normally have the same questions that they would have. So I hand selected a few of them and I'm going to share them with you guys over the course of the next couple weeks. So this one comes from, we'll call her Jay. Hi, Heather. January 1st is like a shiny new pin. Motivation is high. My paper pencil journal is tidy and new. And I am so worried that the motivation will drop off and old habits will creep in before I get to the new healthy ones established. How do we keep going? Thank you. I love this question. This was one of the biggest revelations I had in my own personal journey, was because I used to think there was something wrong with me when I stopped feeling motivated. I used to think that wasn't okay, that I had to feel motivated. I should feel fully engaged in what I was doing. What was wrong with me? And I took that as a sign to start behaving differently with my habits. So what I would say to Jay in this case is, first off, in the HSM Academy, we have an entire huge video library where I've embedded all my videos, and they're ad-free, so I would check those out. But there's an entire library on motivation, and I tackle this more in depth there, but I definitely want to cover it again here. I am going to tell you, as sure as I'm standing here and I'm walking and talking, you will lose motivation. It's gonna happen. It's predictable. It's got to happen, quite honestly. You cannot keep the same level of motivation you have on January 1st all the way through the year. It's impossible. If you go to a sporting event and you watch these people hooting and hollering and getting all excited, they're like that for a game. They're not that way in perpetuity for every single sporting event they go to or show up for or watch on TV. You can't keep a certain level of enthusiasm like that all the time. And because we have this false belief that we should feel that way, that we should behave that way, then when we see we don't, we start to do different actions. So what I often try to teach people is detach your feelings from your actions. Your actions can exist without having to feel anything, and I'll prove it to you. When you don't feel great about whatever, you don't normally stop feeding your children, stop feeding your dog, stop taking care of them. Okay, I don't feel like going to work today, so I just don't. Most people have a professionalism about certain things in their life. They show up, they do the work anyway, even when they don't. If you have a baby and it's screaming and it has a poopy diaper and you're like, hey, this is the last thing I want to be doing right now, I really don't feel like it, good luck. Eventually you're going to cave and you're going to change the kid's diaper because you see it has to be done. You know that's a responsibility. So what you want to do with your habits and your behaviors is truncate them down to where you have minimums. Again, in the Academy, in the weight loss tool section, we have an entire listing of how to start to create like levels for your habits, where it's the basic, minimum, and preferred. So that way you don't check out of this process, because what you've done is you've said, hey, look, I know I'm not going to feel motivated. Like, that's a guarantee. Like, you shouldn't be afraid of it. It should be expected. I'm not going to feel motivated. And because I know I'm not going to feel motivated, I'm going to set some minimum thresholds. Maybe this is some of the minimums I do for my different habits. So that way those days, it's just like when I show up at work and I just get done the bare minimum there because I'm really not feeling great or I'm not in the mood to be doing that job. But I don't just skip out on work entirely, right? It's kind of like some days you might pop the video in for your kids and let them watch way more TV because you're just not feeling your best or you're not on your A game. But it's not like you check completely out of being a parent because you don't feel it. You still feed them. You still would take them to the doctor if they needed to go. You would do those things because you're a professional in some areas of your life. And I use the example professional versus amateur because if you have an amateur guitar player, they pick up the guitar and they play when they feel like it. They let their feelings determine when and where they do that. But a professional would say, hey, I practice for every day 30 minutes regardless. And some days I'm not going to feel like it, but I'm going to do it anyway. And that's how you handle it. So what I'm going to encourage you to do, embrace not feeling motivated. Embrace the fact that that's going to be a reality. Say, what are some minimums I can set for myself? And how can I show up and be a professional versus an amateur when it comes to doing my habits? Because I need a level of self-care, just like I would give to my kid, just like I would give to my pet, just like I would show up at my job. I have to show up for myself, but I'm not going to necessarily expect myself to be rocking it out 24/7 if that's how I'm feeling, right? So it's having a totally different mindset when it comes to these behaviors. All right, guys, I hope you have a great day, and I'll be back with another Half Size Me Academy question coming up in a week. Talk to you soon.